going, everybody? I'm Ron, and we're gonna do another video on my chickens, basically. So we're gonna do the chickens. Actually, this is one of them right below me. This is actually my sweetheart. This is Battle Axe. So we're gonna come say hi to her. Oh, she just submitted basically a little bit. Come here, honey. Come here. No, we're gonna talk. We're gonna feature you. How are you? So it is extremely cold this morning. It was a clear night last night, so. But anyway, this is Battle Axe. She's a speckled Sussex, and she's one of my favorites. She actually was one of the first couple of birds that we got, and I'm gonna make this video. Basically, you can see there's a bunch of different birds I've got. You know, they're pecking at me and stuff like that. So we have quite a few, and I just want to make basically an introduction to how we got our flock and what we did along the way. And we started off basically wanting to grab, you know, a dozen chickens. So we went through, and as we were buying them, we figured out for our area which ones were basically winter hardy birds. And so we ran with that, and there was a couple of reasons based on looks and everything and type of bird that we kind of went with too, but mostly it was the cold hardy bird that we were going for. And we didn't do really too much, you know, egg production research or anything like that, which we have extreme, you know, like, we made a notebook basically of everything, just so that we had it, so that we wouldn't have to worry about, you know, losing any of the information or anything like that. And we got these original 12 that were chicks, you know, and then I had a friend. He had 12 chickens, and one of them was a rooster. It was a Russian Orlov, and unfortunately he passed away. He ended up with bumblefoot, which is something we'll cover in another video, and we'll cover our experience with bumblefoot and what we've learned from it, basically. So anyway, he ends up in a bad situation, and he needs to get rid of all of his birds. So I'm like, okay, well, we have 12, so we'll just get his 12. We'll have a rooster. That'll be cool. At least we'll get chickens that are already laying. You know, we'll help him out by getting rid of them. And so we went ahead and did that, and we ended up with 24 chickens. Well, at that point, we started doing what everybody calls as chicken math, and it ended up being this situation where we would end up going to another store and seeing a different type of breed that we didn't have, and we were like, ooh, and we noticed the details of it, and we were doing a lot of research at this point on egg production, you know, how they handle weather, stuff like that, what their laying cycles are, and different things like that. Now, when it comes to laying, our birds are laying. I have like 57 chickens total, and one of them, only one rooster. I used to have two. One of them was a Russian Orlov. The only one I have left is my, I believe it's an Arcuna. I think either an Arcuna or Maricuna. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, okay? Actually, my wife knows the exact name more than I do. I get both of them mixed up. But that right there is Little Roo. And I'll put a picture up on my Instagram if you guys want to check that out. I'll put up a couple of pictures and some cute little videos that we had of Putin. And he was just a sweetheart, but he passed away from something we're going to cover, and that was bumblefoot. But anyway, so we started doing chicken math. We had a bunch of research. We ended up with all these birds, and they're still laying. So, and that's one thing I want to cover, because I covered it in my first video. I want to cover it in this one a little bit. And it's kind of important, because everybody says you need a light, you need to have a heater in your coop, and you have to have stuff like that. We have 57 chickens total, only one rooster, and we are getting, as of right now, it is like December 8th, I think, and we are getting anywhere from 18 to 2 dozen, if not a little bit more, every single day, no problem. And we did a couple of things to the coop that we're going to cover in videos that is probably the most optimal way to maximize your ability to get the most egg production you possibly can all year round from your birds. And by all means, this is not like the absolute, you got to do this. It's just recommendations and stuff like that when it comes to the coop video. But as far as the dominancy factor that I covered in the rooster video, if you noticed when I went to go pet my hen battle axe, the speckled Sussex, she kind of did that wing submit like that. So if you have roosters and you notice a rooster is kind of like crowing and stuff like that, and then he circles his bird and his bird does that, it's an instant submission. And when they do that, they're expecting to be mounted. And that's the most important thing you need to remember. Because if you have chickens and you're worried about egg production and your egg production slows and all of a sudden it stops and you've done the bare minimum to be able to keep the environment going, especially where I'm at, then you stimulate your hen. And most people are like, huh? So you think of the benefits of having a rooster. If you don't have a rooster, you have to become that rooster. Because your hens are actually looking at you like you're their man, regardless of who you are. If you're their tender and you don't have a rooster, you're their rooster. That's the way it works. So with us, we have a rooster that helps us with egg production. I had an example where one of our birds, they're considered an Easter egger. They lay the olive greenish eggs that we have, and they weren't laying for a while, and one of them, I'll try to feature her in another video when we go through the breeds. But she came up to me and I went to go down and pet her just like I normally would, and she submitted, and I was like, okay, fine. So I grabbed her, and you start, if I get one of these birds to come up to me and not freak out. Yeah. Oh my God, you're the best example. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. All right, I was really hoping to get a hold of this one. This one is one of our Brahmas, okay? This one's an absolute sweetheart. She really is. So, just to cover this real quick, so she doesn't freak out too much. So if your bird submits, you start at the neck, and I do this down the back, and you'll see them slowly start to get a little bit more submissive and kind of get more into the position. When they come into the position, you come up behind them, and you can just do this. And if that doesn't work, then you have to go a little bit more next level, unfortunately, which is simulating more of actually what the rooster really does, honestly. And if you don't want to do it, fine. If you're okay with doing it, cool. But usually a quick bow in the back, around the back, and right around the base of the tail feathers, right where the rooster would normally get, and up the back of the tail feathers. And if you can get the bird to severely ruffle up, there's a chance you might have stimulated that hen just enough to produce some more eggs for you. Okay? So if any of that was helpful and you enjoyed any of the birds that we have in our video and you want to know more about them, hit us up in the comments below, and I'll be happy to ask or answer any questions I possibly can as fast as I